Once upon a time, there was a hermitage on the outskirts of a town, where a monk lived with his disciples. Every evening the monk and all of his disciples used to play together. Whenever the monk prayed, his lips didn't move at all. He would just close his eyes and stood quietly with folded hands. That monk had a disciple. Whenever he saw his master praying like this, a question would arise in his mind. One day when all of them were praying in the evening, as usual the master was standing quietly with closed eyes, and did not move his lips at all. Seeing this, his disciple got curious. He could not stop himself and asked his master after the prayer. The disciples said, "Master, whenever we pray." The disciple said, "Master, whenever we pray our lips move. We say our prayers in words. And through those words we ask God for whatever we want. But I have noticed that when you pray your lips never move. You just keep quiet. Usually, when we say something internally, even then there is a slight vibration on the lips. A feeling of speaking comes on our face. But when I see you praying, I can't see that. Why is that so? Don't you pray to God for anything? Why your lips don't move?" Listening to this, the monk smiled and said, "My son, I tell you about an incident of my life. Once I stayed in capital. In the afternoon when I was passing nearby the king's palace, I saw that the king was standing at the entrance of his palace. Just then a beggar came and stood in front of the king. His body was dilapidated. His clothes were worn and torn. He was very weak and seemed hungry for many days. It seemed as if he would fall on unconscious due to weakness. But there was a gleam in his eyes. King asked him, "What do you want?" Beggar replied, "Sir, if my demand is not known by standing in front of you, then there is no need to say anything. What's more there is to say? I am standing in front of you. Look at me, look at my plight. Do I need to say anything? My existence is my prayer." After this the beggar became silent. The king realized his mistake. He immediately ordered his minister to arrange food for the beggar to eat. He ordered costly clothes for the beggar, a house to stay for him, and a job to earn his livelihood. After saying this, the master looked at his disciple and said, "Son, just think, if that beggar had asked the king for food, then he would have got food. But then, he probably would not have got clothes to wear, a house to live, and a job for his livelihood. But he left it to the king, so that seeing his plight, the king should give him whatever he wants to give him. And then the king he gave as per his status. He not only gave him food and costly clothes, but he also gave him a house to live, and a job to earn his livelihood." After telling the story, the master became serious and said, "My son, after this incident, I have stopped asking for anything from God. Because in reality nothing is hidden from God. He knows everything what we want and what is right for us. If we demand something from Him with our limited mind, then we will be in loss. And then that Almighty Father gives us something from His side, then He will give us all that we need. Therefore, we don't need to ask anything from God while playing. All that we need is to surrender ourselves to God with a true heart and become silent. If we pray in this way, then God will definitely listen to our prayer and give us what is really good for us. This is Quotes and Stories motivational story. Thanks for watching and keep smiling.